My father bought the padlock in 1991, the year he handed me the deed to the ranch. It sat untouched in the office drawer for 22 years, but I always knew exactly where it was. In November, I finally pulled it out. At dawn on a crisp Monday in early December, I drove to the western gate with two items in the truck, a closure notice drafted by my attorney, and that old padlock. I posted the notice, 2 pages plus attachments, including the certified boundary survey, the chain of title analysis, and a 1991 road deed proving outright ownership with no easements recorded. Then I looped the chain through the gate, clicked the lock shut, and headed back to feed the cattle. The first car showed up at 4:47 p.m. The driver scanned the notice, paused in stunned silence, and backed away. By 5:30, my neighbor Robert Finch, a retired civil engineer with 35 years under his belt, counted 27 vehicles lined up on the approach road. Folks stood in the biting December chill, poring over the deed pinned to the gate, murmuring in hushed tones as they realized the road they'd driven daily for 22 years belonged to someone else, someone who'd never breathed a word about it until now. 6 weeks earlier, the Highland Estates HOA had fenced off that very road, padlocked it, and slapped on a laminated sign. Highland Estates HOA Community Perimeter, authorized access only. Fresh concrete footings gleamed under the posts, 6 strands of barbed wire stretched tight. That road had been in my family since my father scraped it out by hand in 1978. It was deeded to the county in 1979, passed to me in 1991, and remained unburdened in every record for 44 years. They'd built the fence without checking a single deed. My attorney, Elizabeth Reed, reviewed the file in September and gave one directive: document everything. Say nothing. John Harlan had patrolled the western perimeter of his ranch every morning for 34 years. Not out of habit, but from the keen awareness that 420 acres of cattle country demanded constant vigilance. Problems on a ranch, like in life, were easier to fix when caught early. On a Wednesday in early November, he drove it at 6:52 a.m., coffee in the cup holder, radio silent, eyes scanning fence lines, cattle in the lower pasture, and the dawn light rising over the eastern ridge where Highland Estates subdivision perched with its uniform rooftops and manicured lawns. He'd watched that ridge for 22 years, ever since the developer leveled it, built 287 homes, and linked them to the county highway via the road skirting his western boundary, a road his family owned outright since 1978. Rounding the cedar thicket at the southwest corner, he braked hard. A fence blocked the road. He idled there, staring through the windshield. It was brand new, posts freshly sunk, concrete bases pale against the dirt, barbed wire shiny and unweathered. A swing gate centered it, chained with a padlock and a tag readable from the truck: Highland Estates HOA Community Perimeter, authorized access only. This was the second fence. The first had appeared mid-September, 6 strands running his southern boundary. He'd watched the crew from afar, not grasping at first. Up close, it encroached 25 to 31 inches inside his deeded line, claiming a strip of his grazing land, tagged repeatedly with HOA signs. A week prior, Karen Ellis, the HOA president, had sent a polite letter on official stationery: board-approved perimeter project, licensed contractor, enhanced security, clear boundaries. No request for input, no survey mention, no nod to the gap between their line and his. He'd photographed the letter, the fence, and called Elizabeth. Said nothing to Karen or the HOA. That was 6 weeks ago. The first fence was encroachment, actionable, but Elizabeth advised waiting for a full record. The second? It sealed off the only road linking 287 homes to the highway, a road they didn't own. John stepped out, examined the gate, the lock, the tag. Posts buried deep in concrete, built to last. The fence ran north and south, tying into the southern one, enclosing what Karen's crew thought was their western edge. It wasn't. It was his road. He snapped photos from every angle, noted the time in his ranch log, a habit from his father, treating it as both operational and legal record. 6:54 a.m. Wednesday, November 5th. Second HOA Fence across access road. Gate padlocked. Tags attached. Posts in concrete. Flesh pool. Connects to southern fence. Road blocked. Photographed. He called Elizabeth on the third ring. She answered despite the hour. John knew when calls couldn't wait. He described it all. Installation, gate, lock, damp concrete, suggesting overnight work. They fenced the road, she said flatly, processing the gift to their case. He confirmed photos. Her instructions, don't touch anything. No contact with HOA. Photograph the full line. She wanted everything by noon. This accelerates things, she added. The southern fence was trespass. This was claiming control over private infrastructure. They've given us gold. Stay silent. John drove the line, photographing every post, connection, sign. Noted concrete curing north to south over 2 days. Finished at 8:15, sat gazing at the permanent-looking barrier. He'd worked this land since boyhood, through droughts, recessions, floods. Managed the road as part of the property, letting neighbors use it freely. His father's lesson. Good neighbors cost nothing until forced otherwise. Now someone had forced it. He logged. 8:17 a.m., full documentation complete. 23 posts with positions. Connections documented. HOA signs at 4 spots. Cure pattern. 2-day install. Ended overnight. Road blocked. No bypass. Elizabeth notified. No HOA contact. Proceeding per council. Uploaded photos. Fed cattle. Resumed ranch work. At 11:30, Elizabeth confirmed. Record nearly ready. Certified plat pending. Title analysis done. Then we tell them whose road they fenced. The road started with a tractor and blade in September 1978. Thomas Harlan, 44 then, had bought the valley land in 1971 with savings and a loan, building it into a viable cattle operation through patient stewardship. By 1978, pastures fenced, house solid, but access crossed a neighbor's dirt track, tolerated, not guaranteed. He graded his own road along the western edge, a quarter-mile of gravel on his deeded land to the highway. Recorded it in 1979 as fee simple, no burdens. When Thomas deeded the ranch to John in 1991, the road went with it, explicit, unencumbered. Thomas stayed involved until his 70s, sharp on management. In 2001, Summit developers bought the ridge land, 340 acres for subdivision. No direct access. Natural route used as road. Their manager, James Whitaker, drove it, noted it in reports as existing infrastructure, never checked deeds. Knocked on Thomas's door, 287 homes, need road for construction and residence. Thomas agreed, as neighborly courtesy, not permanent right. No money, no papers, just clear, it's our road, we're allowing use. James noted verbal agreement with adjacent landowner, proceeded. Subdivision approved without deed pull. Labeled road, existing county access. Homes sold 2002 to 2006. Buyers assumed public right-of-way. It wasn't. Elizabeth took John's legal work in 2009, reviewed titles. Road private, no easement. Options, formalize or document permitted use. John chose neither. No issues, why stir? For 12 years, it held. Then Karen authorized fences without deeds, unraveling it all. By early November, Elizabeth had the file. 1991 deed, 2001 plat, HOA doc sans easement, James's note. They've used your road 22 years without right, she said. Fencing it asserts control. Passive use risked prescriptive easement, but permitted evidence blocked it. Fence? Immediate trespass remedies. John asked to proceed as Thomas would, quietly, completely, when ready. Karen ran the HOA with bold momentum, mistaking unchallenged decisions for sound ones. 5 years as president. Renovations, standards overhauls, now $94,000 fence project. Sold to board as security enhancement. Approved 6-1. Michael Thorne, ex-planner, asked about survey. Karen said existing docs sufficed. He voted no, let consequences teach. Karen hired contractors with 2001. map labeling road community infrastructure. No survey, no deed check, no contact with John beyond cordial letter. He photographed, filed, silence read as assent. Southern fence up mid-September. She updated members. Western next. Road fence in late October. She texted completion photo. Perimeter defined. Great outcome. Between, she sent John a second letter. HOA to pave road springtime, budgeted, enhancing durability. No consent sought, no ownership nod. John scanned to Elizabeth, second letter, paving. No response from me. Elizabeth called, thrilled. Documented intent for permanent changes on private land. Don't reply. It's Exhibit F. Robert called Friday. Southern fence inside John's line, 25 to 30 inches. John confirmed awareness, handling quietly. Thought, Robert's credentials perfect witness. Might need you later. Robert agreed. Elizabeth's conviction. Disputes one pre-filing via unseen documentation. Retained David Larson for survey. Mapped encroachments precisely. Southern. Average 29 inches in, variable. Negligent use of map. Road fence. On John's property, posts and gravel. Certified plat sealed. Susan Grant's title analysis. No easement ever. 16 pages. Clear conclusion. Robert's notarized statement. Witnessed 2001 talk. Courtesy only. Observed permitted use. Karen's trail. Minutes. Authorizations. Letters. Paving intent transforming case to deliberate trespass. Elizabeth called late November. Record complete. John wanted road reopened pre-conference for residents, innocents in this. But first, closure. Give them 24 hours with the deed before filing. Monday dawn. John posted notice, locked gate. Certified copy to HOA office. Sarah signed, escalated to Karen. She read, called Andrew Hayes. He reviewed. Deed clean, survey solid, no prescriptive claim. Contact Elizabeth, exposure high. By 5 p.m., Robert watched 27 cars backlog, residents digesting deeds. Forum exploded. 340 posts questioning access since purchase. Emergency meeting Sunday. Karen downplayed as dispute, attorneys resolving. But Laura Bennett, retired litigator homeowner since 2004, posted analysis. Fee simple, no easement, trespass, paving letter as intent evidence. Meeting packed, 63 in, overflow. Karen's remarks evasive. Laura questioned. Title search? Instrument cited? Aware road private when paving announced? Karen faltered, silence damning. She resigned Thursday. Personal legal matters. Andrew had brief board. No defense, liability real. Michael, interim president, called Elizabeth. No contest, seek easement fair to John. Conference, easement recorded, payment, fence removal supervised, acknowledgement filed. John signed, shook hands, resolution clean. John drove home, fed cattle, logged settlement signed. Easement recorded, payment confirmed. Fences down in 90 days. Boundary restored. Matter closed. Robert called, done. John nodded to the fading light. Thomas had said the road would matter someday. He was right. What do you think about stories like this, where everyday injustices push people to stand their ground? Share your thoughts in the comments, especially on themes of power imbalances and unfairness in life. Take a stand. Have you faced something similar? Let me know your views.